Recorded Books and RB Digital present The Sea Peoples by S.M. Stirling. Narrated by Todd McLaren. Prologue. Between Waking World and Shadow. Where am I? Prince John Arminger Mackenzie thought. I was at the fort. We stormed the wall. Something fell on me. Something loomed ahead of him, then vanished again in the blur. Is that Carcosa? Thinking about the ramparts glimpsed for a moment was a distraction from the pain, as John stumbled along with his feet bleeding on the ruts and rocks of the roadway, and his shoulders screaming every time the two pulled on the pole. I don't know what they are, but they have hands. His hands were tied in front of him, and the stick was run between his elbows and his back, an arrangement which made it impossible to look up without straining his neck muscles, and impossible not to stumble if he didn't. What's different? He thought. Why am I having so much trouble concentrating? Apart from being in the enemy's hands. And how did that happen? Why can't I remember? There had been wind-up record players in the places he lived most of his life. They were expensive, but gave a reasonable sound, unless something happened to make one skip. That had always jarred his natural ear for music with a sense of discontinuity, like being startled out of a deep reverie by a flick from a wet towel. Now, his awareness itself was jumping like that needle. Was there really nothing but dank mist around, except for a stretch of roadway beneath his feet? Had he been plodding through a fog forever? The world became clearer, fading into solidity again, and he wished it hadn't. A gibbet stood by the side of the highway. The corpse hanging from it was withered and blackened, and one arm was tied out with a stick and string as a pointer. But what it pointed to was nowhere, because it swayed and turned in the wind. The eyes moved and looked at him as the face came around, teeth forever bared by withered lips in a silent scream. A crow plucked at its ribcage. The crow was dead, with white bones showing through tattered feathers. So were the flies clustered around those eyes. The pain hovered, always there, but John's mind didn't seem to be. A heavy scent filled the air, like roses and rot at the same time. The light was bright but directionless, and he felt as if he were locked in a closet despite being able to see clearly. They'd been winning, and then the flaming tower had broken apart and fallen towards him just as they came over the wall. He'd thought, I'm going to die, and then there had been the ruined temple in the jungle, and the woman thing called the Rangda, and her horde of little men with huge eyes, and the temple had split, and the Pallid Mask had taken him through, and... Am I dead? Surely I haven't been that bad. But I haven't had a chance to make confession. Pain. There was always the pain. The pole thrust between his elbows behind his back, dragging him along, and looking down and seeing the sweat and blood drop into the white dust of the road. The muscles in his shoulders and arms ached as if they might snap like rotten string, and his feet were swollen lumps of fire. He'd seen the castle, city, whatever, that its dwellers called Carcosa, as the Tarshish queen approached the harbor of Barud Denpasar. It looked weird enough, a fantastic concoction of walls and turrets, tall, slim, bulbous-tipped towers and domes, all made of coral rock that varied from cream to crimson. He hadn't studied it much since. Look
Sample complete. Ready to continue?